Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Hazy Flame Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for June 2025. You want to talk about an overlooked deck from the Yu-Gi-Oh series. Hazy Flame is definitely that deck. I think the last time they've had support is Primal Origin, which was a set very close to Cosmo Blazar, the first set that gave us support for the Hazy Flame deck, which the whole deck is a fun concept, being able to use the many different level 6 monsters to make our main boss monster, Hazy Flame Basilitrice. But if all it takes is, as I've said before in plenty of my videos, one deck profile to finally reveal new support for the Hazy Flame deck, then I feel like it was definitely worth the effort to update this Fire level 6, rank 6 Yu-Gi-Oh deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Hazy Flame main deck monsters, we're running 3 copies of Hazy Flame Manticore. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, which is a common effect that the Hazy Flame monsters share. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can send one fire monster except this card from your hand or face it from your side of the field of the graveyard. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects this turn, so it's just more setup and protection for your bigger boss monster. Honestly, was even debating dropping down Manticore to 2 and putting in another 3 of for one of our other Hazy Flames, but I'd say it's more player preference with that position. Up to you if you wish to do so. Another 3 of we run is Hazy Flame Hydra. Now this one is fun for the fact that Hydra is a dinosaur monster, so it does open some plays for some other monsters in the deck for us to be able to summon out and then properly utilize as well. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You cannot special summon except fire monsters, and an Xyz monster that was summoned using this card gains the effect. When it's Xyz summoned, you can target a Hazy Flame monster in your graveyard and attach it to it as Xyz material. So whether we go into Evil Czar Lars or Evil Czar Solda, we have options with this monster, giving us those additional materials to attach onto those cards as well. We're just restricted to what we can make since it's only fire monsters, so we have to stick with the initial monsters that we have here for this card summon, but an honest benefit because it gives us that additional attach onto it also. And then we're also running 3 copies of Hazy Flame Griffin. Your opponent can, if only your opponent controls a monster, and all monsters on your side of the field and your graveyard are fire and only fire, you can special summon this card from your hand. Your opponent can target this card with card effects. So this card gives you the option for you to summon out this card if your opponent controls the monster, and then you're only restricted to fire in your graveyard. So remember that as well. A good majority of what we run in the extra deck are just fire attribute, and then the same for the main deck. So easy way to utilize a special summon with Griffin. Well, then we'll use some other cards in the deck to summon out our Hazy Flame monsters for the 1 less tribute onto the field. Also, we're running 3 copies of Hazy Flame Cerberus as well. You can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1000. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and also when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Hazy card from your deck to your hand. The fact that it says Hazy card gives us access to a variety of other Hazy cards we run in the deck to help with our overall plays. We only have 2 Hazy cards that work with the Hazy Flame monsters, which once again is crazy. This just feels like a completely overlooked deck, but Cerberus gives us that added setup, being a monster that we can even just keep on the field to use against our opponent, because then we have the additional search to help set up some of our other Hazy Flame monsters, which are also 3 copies of Hazy Flame Sphinx with the same protection from card effects. You can declare 1 card type, monster, spell, or trap, send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Then if it was the declared type, special summon 1 fire monster from your hand or graveyard. You can always use the effect of Hazy Flame Sphinx once per turn, so it's more of a guessing game, which is always the case with the Sphinx cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, but still, the added benefit could just give you that additional monster on the field as well to summon out. Now, the one I run 2 of, but may potentially be a 3 of, which if you want to run 3 copies of Hazy Flame Periton, you can drop any of the other monsters for an additional count of this card. It cannot be special summoned except by Hazy Flame monster's effect. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You can send 1 fire monster from your hand to the graveyard and tribute this card to special summon 2 Hazy Flame monsters from your deck. You can use this effect of Periton once per turn. Now, this is definitely a big hand trap card. You invested a monster and 1 additional card in your hand for it to potentially be hand trapped, but if you want to run a 3rd copy, you could just drop down one of your other Hazy Flame monsters for that 3rd spot with this card, with the rest of the main deck monsters being just our small hand trap lineup of Fulalos and Ash Blossom. If you didn't have Fulalos and you wanted to run another hand trap spot. You can always put in cards like Effect Failure, Droll and Lockbird, you name it, for this third spot for the hand traps. For the spells, we're running 3 copies of Hazy Pillar. I just have the Upstart Goblin here because I couldn't find a third copy of this very old Yu-Gi-Oh card. You can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for 1 less tribute once per turn. You can target 1 face-up Xyz monster you control, attach 1 Hazy Flame monster from your hand to your side of the field to it as Xyz material. So, cards like our main go-to boss monster, Hazy Flame, Basilatrice, benefit from having more and more material attached onto it. So having a spell that can help with that play, and not only that, but give us a way to summon out our monsters with the special summon and then an additional normal summon with 1 less tribute helps just to set up our rank 6 Xyz plays all the easier also. I run 2 copies of Ready Fusion as well, just for special summoning out our Crimson Sunbird from the extra deck also, being another level 6 fire monster to be able to use for our Xyz plays. 2 copies of Fossil Dig for searching out our Hydra. Once again, it is a dinosaur monster, so just being able to thin out and search more of the deck using this card. And then the rest of our spells being the 1 Celestial Observation or Observatory. Place 1 level 6 monster from your hand or face up on the field, bottom of the deck, and draw 2 cards. So just more draw power to sift through the deck. The 1 Monster Reborn, the 1 Triple Tactics Talent, and then the 1 Call by the Grave to finish off our spell lineup in the deck also. And then for the traps, I'm running 3 copies of Hazy Glory, just like our Hazy Pillar. It helps with setup in the deck. You can normal summon Hazy Flame monsters for 1 less tribute. You can send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard to target 1 Hazy card in your graveyard, except for Hazy Glory. Add that target to your hand. So we get additional cycling if our opponent destroys our Hazy Pillar. We can use Hazy Glory to grab this card back and keep the same 1 less tribute play on the field for us to use, with the rest of the traps just being the additional hand trap spot, like our Ash Blossom and Fuelos, the infinite impermanent spot to use in the deck as well. For the extra deck, we're running the 1 copy of Hazy Flame Basilatrice. This could always be increased just by decreasing the other number of Xyz monsters we run. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, target 1 monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish that target. This card gains effects based on the number of Xyz materials attached to it. If it has 3 or more, it gains 200 attack and defense for each Xyz material, making it a potential 3,100 off that effect alone. With the 4 or more, it cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and 5, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, making it 1 powerhouse the more Xyz materials we have on it. But the fact that it can also take care of pesky monsters by banishing them, or the ones in their graveyard, getting around a good variety of other cards that your opponent may use as well. Our other Xyz monsters include the 1 Evil Czar Lars and the 1 Solda. Easy rank 6 monsters to make. You can even use Lars, which is 2 level 6 monsters. You just have the added option for, you know, the other effect being able to negate effects if you only have the dinosaur monsters. The 1 copy of number 24 Dragulus and the 1 M7. Now, either one of these could be replaced for a 2nd copy of Basilatrice, with the remaining Xyz monsters being 1 Sky Crisis and the 1 Sky Thunder to finish off the Xyz monsters. The 2 copies of Crimson Sunbird for the Ready Fusion targets to summon out, with our Link monsters being the 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, the 1 Heat of the Fire Charmer, 1 SP Little Knight, along with the 1 Promethean Princess, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and then the 1 Salmon Great Raging Phoenix to finish off the extra deck. As I said, the majority of the monsters in the extra deck are fire monster, just so we can have less restrictions with some of our other main deck monsters, but still a big play to set up for sure. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, the biggest thing I would say is your setup. You need your spell or trap to really, summon out your monsters. You have the option with cards like Griffin to special summon out this card, and then use that as a special summon to then be able to tribute out your main monsters for their summons. Using Perryton, being able to then send 1 fire monster from your hand. So you have to have that additional fire monster to send to the graveyard, and then tribute this card to grab you the 2 Hazy Flame monsters from your deck to then be able to use for that added overlay of your main go-to boss monster. Using cards like Hazy Pillar will give you 1 additional less tribute, so then you can just normal summon out that additional monster to your Griffin and then have the Xyz play from there. But then also, if you go with the initial play, you have the materials to attach on for the once per turn as well, having this card be boosted up for every material that you add onto it thanks to this card also. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, this is definitely an overlooked deck, and it could use some search power, some new boss monsters, you name it. It all feels like these are just generic cards waiting to be used with a bigger engine for the deck overall. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.